The VAR Show. The one place for your weekly football update.
Hola, very warm welcome to the VAR Show, the show which talks about all the various major football leagues in detail. Today we are going to continue the theme of interviews, and we have a very influential figure in the Indian footballing culture as of today and hopefully in the future also. So we have none other than the manager of Bengaluru FC, Mr. Carl Cuadrat. For those who do not know, Bengaluru FC is an Indian professional football club based in Bengaluru, Karnataka. The club competes in the Indian Super League. It used to compete in the I-League before. Since their foundation, the club has won 2 I-League titles, including one in the debut season, 2 Federation Cup titles, 1 Indian Super League title and a Super Championship. They became the champions of 2018-2019 Indian Super League season, defeating FC Goa in the final. The club is owned and operated by the Mumbai-based JSW Group and play their home games at Sri Kantirva Stadium, and I have been to one of those games and it's quite electrifying. As for Mr. Carl Cuadrat, he is the product of La Masia Academy, which you all might have heard, also produced a lot of great players. So in 2009, Cuadrat joined former FC Barcelona manager Frank Rijkaard's technical team as physical trainer at Turkish giants Galatasaray. He was also in the technical staff with Frank Rijkaard at Saudi Arabia between 2011 and 2013. However, in 2014, when Albert Roca, who was assistant coach to Frank Rijkaard at Galatasaray and Saudi Arabia, became manager of El Salvador, he enlisted services of Cuadrat as assistant coach. He then followed Albert Roca to Bengaluru FC as his assistant coach before eventually taking the reins at Bengaluru FC in 2018. Since then, he has guided Bengaluru FC to their maiden Indian Super League title in 2018-2019 season and has made the playoffs of each and every subsequent seasons after that. And in the process has also set a host of records which probably will never be beaten, or at least in the near future. So without wasting much time, I would like to thank Mr. Cuadrat for coming on the show. Thank you and welcome to the show. And firstly, I would like to ask you, how are you and what are you doing during this pandemic period?
Thank you for calling me. Situation here in Spain is getting better, about coronavirus. There is the number of people getting the virus is going down, so we hope that in the next weeks can be even better. And about me, doing that kind of work that we do, the coaches, when we are at home, so it means scouting players, getting ready for the next season, and having that kind of interviews and conversations that the one that I'm having with you.
Okay, first I would like, I have stayed in Bangalore for quite a while, I have attended one of your matches. I was in Bangalore for around 7 years and I attended only one match. That was when you all played Northeast United, I think last year. It was a 1-1 draw. So okay. How do you find the footballing culture in Bangalore, or in India in general?
For me, it has been 4 years working in India, and I really can see that the football is developing. I think that the idea of the Indian Super League was a great idea to try to invest in good facilities, good crowds going to the pitch, good TV production games, and of course also bringing good foreigner players and good foreigner coaches. And after 6 editions of the Super League, I think that you can see the level that it's going up year after year.
So this was your first major full-time job as a manager. You had been in the backroom staff for quite a while, maybe in Galatasaray. Were you anxious or excited while taking the job? How is it different? How different is it from being a backroom staff and being the face of the club? With all the pressure and handling everything.
Yeah, you're right. There is quite a few interesting differences because you can be a sportsman and you can be a very professional football man, like I have been in my life, playing football, being physical coach, being assistant coach. But it's true that when you are the one taking decisions, everything changes, because at the end, what is going to happen in the pitch, it's just your responsibility. You can have people around you helping you, a lot of conversations, a lot of ideas, but what is going to happen, the 11 players that are going to play, the decisions that they are going to take in the pitch, it depends on you. So it's true that it means a completely different scenario. For me, it was a challenge, because you never know if you are ready for that until you try it. So for me, it was a challenge, but it was wonderful that the first year that I have to take that challenge, we become Super League champions. So that kind of situation helps me to think that I am in the right way and I am enjoying that way. I think that I am in the good club to develop my ideas, and until now I'm very happy of the experience.
So, moving to the next question, you have worked under huge household names like Frank Rijkaard, who gave you, we will say it's like a first major break as a condition coach in Galatasaray. And then you also joined him at Saudi Arabia. How was it working under him?
Yeah, football, it's the same all over the world. I mean, there is not a lot of big difference. The only difference are, of course, about budget, and budget led you to have better equipment, better pitch, better players, to play against better opponents. Okay, that's about the budget, But in fact, what happens inside of a locker room, what kind of communication there is between players and staff, between staff and management, that things, it's very similar in Saudi Arabia, in Turkey, in Spain, in India, I'm sure in Nepal also. So
yeah.
for me, it was a good training to be involved in that kind of Turkish Super League scenario, Barça La Liga scenario, and from that you can build up and you can get knowledge, and then when you have the opportunity to be the first coach, of course you are using that kind of knowledge.
The second person who had kind of a major influence in your coaching career, I feel, is Albert Roca, whom you were with at El Salvador and then Bengaluru FC, and you eventually succeeded him. He is currently he got appointed as the manager of Hyderabad FC, which is a new entry to the ISL. Are you excited to face Albert?
It will be very interesting, of course, because we know each other a lot. So every game that we have to play against each other, there is a lot of knowledge.
So will it be like Jose Mourinho versus Frank Lampard?
I don't think so. Every relation is special, and I think that competition will take us to the place that we have to fight for the points or to fight for the playoff or whatever, But what I'm really, really sure about is that I really appreciate what he was doing for me, and I have a lot of respect about any decision that he can take. So I was quite surprised when I know that he was going to Hyderabad. So I just congratulate him and the club for that new relation that they are starting, and I wish the best for them.
So, before you were the manager, you were assistant for 2 years at Bengaluru FC. Did it help you, when you took the job full-time basis?
Yeah, for sure, because I really know the club, I really know the supporters, and I really know the players. And I know that the players were really happy to have me as a head coach. So when you have the locker room that it's supporting the way you are, then things become easy. So for me, it was the natural scenario to make that step. I don't know if in another club I was ready to do that, but in Bengaluru I was ready for that, and if you see the results, it was working for the club. So it was a good decision for all of us.
So, in your first season, I think you went on to win the ISL. How was it like? How did you feel? Like it was like your first major season as a full-time manager, and you won probably the biggest trophy available in the country.
Yeah, it was a big happiness. It was a big happiness, and when you take that kind of challenge, you never know. You have to play the games, and you have to see what's happening. But what I can say is that we were very consistent during all the season, and even that season that we have not been reaching the final. Even like this, we have been again very very consistent. I mean, you can see when you see Bengaluru match that the team is doing a lot of work. They know what they have to do. Then you can be more successful about to get goals. You can be less successful about to concede goals, but the results are there. You can see that the team was getting the playoff and was only one goal away of the final. So job is there. Then it's a question of chance created, chance converted, and that kind of things that it's little margins when you are in the top leagues.
So when you're working with Bengaluru FC, I think you have probably the best talent pool in the country, like in Bengaluru. But one name that stands out maybe for everyone is Sunil Chhetri. He's like the Ronaldo of India. Like he is Sunil Chhetri of India. You don't have to say Ronaldo or something. How is it working with him?
The clue about Sunil Chhetri is how consistent is he in his performance. That's the important thing, and it's what all the foreigner coaches are trying to teach to the Indian players, because you have some very very good talent, but for different reasons, sometimes they are not consistent season after season. It was happening with Udanta 2 seasons ago. He was getting the most goals and the most assistants in his career. So all of us were thinking, okay, now is the moment for Udanta to make the next step and to keep consistent in that. But it was not happening. Unfortunately, last season it was not happening. But all the Indian players have the reference of Sunil, and they are joining him in the national team. So they are taking that kind of learnings from him about how to training, how to perform, how to live, about nutrition, about rest, about all your mentality to become a winner. And I hope that it is what is going to happen in the future in India, that all the young talents like Nishu Kumar, like Sheikh Kurunian, like Udanta, like Tapa, like Chwanti, like Jerry, like Farouk, like Marvin, a lot of players that, okay, they are now 21, 23, 24, that they can really understand that the important thing is not to arrive to the national team. No, the important thing is to arrive there and to make an impact. And it's what Sunil is doing, because the professionality that he's showing, but not only that, the mentality is also very important. Because when you are a striker and you are 3 games without not scoring a goal, all the media, all the people start to talking, oh, maybe it's the end of Sunil, maybe it's the end of he as a player. And then you have to be very strong to keep working and to keep getting the results. So this is a very good example for the next generations. And I hope that we are still on time, that these youngers can really, really get that kind of performance.
So you mentioned quite a lot of names. It looks like you're scouting a lot these days in your free time.
Well, it's 4 years in India, so I really know how things are there.
Okay. So, like you said, you as a player and as a coach, you have traveled a lot, many countries, many cultures. So, do you think, like, as you said, Sunil Chhetri has the mentality of like professionalism. He is also, as a player, has traveled a lot from Portugal to MLS. So, do you think that helped him get that maybe mentality to maybe be a player when you go maybe play at Sporting Lisbon? You see the quality that is required. Maybe do you think like Indian players should try their hand abroad?
You are completely right. When you have to work day after day with a really, really high level of football, for sure, or you learn, or after a while you have to go out. It's just like this. So the good thing for Sunil is that he was consistent taking that challenge, because he went to USA, he went to Portugal, so he has been spent a lot of time doing that kind of trainings. And in an interview just last month, he was talking about that he realized when he was in Portugal that the pace of the game was completely different. And it's true. It's true. You have to prove yourself in another higher conditions to increase your performance. And it's what happens with Sunil. After these seasons abroad, he can come back to India with a better level. And it was the same with Gurpreet also. I think that for him, it was also very interesting, because it's not just go for 1 month trial, 3 months trial. No, you have to spend 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and then you will see the results. But it's not forget about let's do one training camp 1 month. No, we have been in Spain. We have been playing against Barça B. We have been playing against Villarreal B, and it has been a good learning for us. But the real good learning is to play one league with all these guys. Then you get the learning week after week. You can try for a while, but the consistency in your performance will arrive to you after a long time of exposure.
Yeah, especially in Spain. I had been there. I'm an engineer by my education, but I had gone there to do a footballing course in Barcelona, and the depth at which they talk, or at which they focus, is amazing. Like, you can see why they are miles ahead. They take football as rocket science, and they go at such a depth level to even like something like substitution, like or maybe a throw-in. Like, nowadays you have the culture of throw-in getting a lot of focus, especially with Liverpool having hired the throw-in coach. So personally, I feel people or players from Southeast Asia need to travel. Maybe then they can understand the professionalism, I think, compared to what we have it here.
No, you're completely right. One of the things that we saw when we arrived here in 2016 is that the teams have talent, because there is no question about that. There is talent in India. But, for example, the way they play the game, there is a lot of distance between defenders and strikers. And if you see now in Super League, the teams that become champions are teams that they work as a block all together. It's what we get last season when we won the Super League in 2019. If you see our games against Goa, we were Lanta, Sunil, Miku helping the defense, and we were not leaving a space in the middle for the talented players like Jehu, Edubedia, Hugo, that when they have a space, they can really break you, because they are really good. So it's what we have been watching in India, that the pace and the structure of the teams are getting closer to Europe. And this is the way to be competitive, because when we arrived to the I-League, 2016, 2017, with that space between lines, you cannot go to play against any European team. They are going to demolish you, So step after step, they are understanding that. And I think that we have been making the record of clean sheets last season because of that, because the way we work all together, helping each other, defenders, midfield, strikers.
So in the National League, that is the ISL, you have achieved maximum. Maybe you have set a lot of records. You have won. You have reached the playoffs in consistent all the seasons. So, like, why isn't it transcending to maybe something in the Asian League? Like, is there much more, like, maybe you all are a little slightly underperforming compared to in the National League, in the Asian Cup?
In FC Cup, what happens in our competition?
Yeah.
No, it was a question of calendar, because at the end, February was the month that everybody have to be very competitive to reach the playoff, and for us to reach the FC Cup group stage. and we have to play 8 months, 8 games, and the rest of the Indian teams, they were playing only 4 games. So it means that we get involved in the rotations. So we put a lot of new players in different opportunities for them to try to help the team. And unfortunately, we have that bad result in Masia. It was a game that it should be for us because, again, we create more chances, but we didn't get the result. But even like this, we should get the result at home, And we were playing a game again with a lot of chances. We only were able to win in Cantiriba for the result 2-1. So it takes us to extra time and 3-2 at the end, So we won the game, but because of the goal difference, we have to go to penalties. What I mean is that that kind of rotation make us not to be able to go to the next level. It happens. It was an accident. Penalties are a lottery, and unfortunately, we didn't win that time. But again, that kind of experience, for sure, is going to help the players that were participating in that playoff to learn as a players. It's something that they are going to have inside, and for the next opportunities, they are going to be better about that kind of challenge.
So, like, you have been in Bangalore for quite a while now. Mm-hmm. So, what are your future goals? Are you trying to lay down a legacy like maybe like Sir Alex Ferguson did at United?
Mm-hmm.
So, are you trying to do that? Or what is your future with plans for Bangalore? Are you trying to be there for a lot of while, or are you looking for it?
In football, you never know. I have 1 more year contract, so I don't know what is going to happen after that year. What it's true is that Bengaluru is a kind of club that support their people. I mean, I have full support of the management. I feel that even we have not get any trophy last season, they still believe in the work that we are doing. They still believe in our players because they are doing the renovation of some of the important players in the team. So they are consistent. And if you see the results in Indian Super League, the teams that are getting results are the teams who really are consistent in the project, that they are not changing year after year. They really have a way, and they are going in that way. So I feel really comfortable working for Bengaluru.
So you, as you said, you have been in Bangalore for 4 years. Which is one club or maybe one stadium which you do not like to play in, or which is difficult for you?
That's a good question, because you know that we don't have really good results with Mumbai. But let me say you that in Mumbai Stadium was where we become champions. So I have no problem for that. We can go to any stadium and enjoy the game. No problem.
Okay, do you go out in Bangalore maybe with your players, maybe for dinner or something?
Well, with players you have to have one specific kind of relation,
Which is your favorite restaurant in Bangalore?
We do some things together. We have a pub that has a relation with the club. It's called Arbor, and we go there sometimes to celebrate Christmas, to celebrate some special events all together with the office people also. I think that it's one of the good things in Bengaluru, that we are, like a family. We're a corporation that everybody is helping each other, and that's nice sometimes to make that kind of situations that we can talk each other out of the office, out of the pitch, and have another kind of relation.
Arbor is really a good place. I've been there.
Good. They support sports. They have all the TV ready to watch sports.
Their logo looks like Everton.
Yeah,
have you seen the logo?
All right.
I don't know this. Yeah. Okay, we'll go a little bit to one question which probably everyone has a doubt about. Which one do you prefer? Zonal marking or man marking, or maybe a hybrid of both?
Yeah, I use a hybrid. I think that it's the best solution for my team at that moment.
So if you had to describe yourself as a coach, what would be your philosophy? Like, how do you want to see how do you want your team to play?
I'm a coach who loves to win.
Okay.
What does it mean? That I try to be very competitive. I come from Barcelona, and Barcelona has been very successful about to develop players. But you only can develop players if you get results with the players. Otherwise, it makes no sense. You cannot try to be so naive to bring players to the competition, but just to play. And if you lose the ball and they score a goal, okay, no problem. Be happy, be calm. It's not true. It's not true. All the supporters in the world want to see his team winning. So you have to have the right combination between develop talent but getting the results. So this is my philosophy. I have get 10 players this last season from the B team, giving them an opportunity in Indian Super League or FC Cup, and you have to do that in the right way. And maybe I was wrong about FC Cup. Maybe I didn't get the result because I give them too much time in that competition, But I afford that. I understand that. I take a risk because I trust in these players. And I was trusting that with these young players, plus the work of all the veteran players like Rino, like King Lewis, like Udanta, like Ashik, like Nishu, Juanan, Eric, that all of them will get the next step in the competition. But, okay, I assume that. I talked with the management. They were unhappy with the result, but they understand that if we want to do the two things, that it's develop players, develop Indian players, of course, and take results, then you have to work in that way. Sometimes it works and you get the Super League. Sometimes it doesn't work and you get the semi-finals of the playoff. But you, as a coach, have to try to do that. And this is my philosophy.
So we'll go into a more lighter question. Do you have any coach from whom you take inspiration or something?
Yeah, a lot of them, of course, a lot of them. For me, Rijkaard was an inspiration because I saw the way he was managing the locker room, the relation with the players, the way he can get the results because he is like an inspiration for the players. And for me, it's one of my mirrors, is one of the professional coaches that I try to understand what he was going to do in my situation. And sometimes I think, okay, maybe I can do that because, I remember what he did in Barcelona or in Galatasaray. Talking about Barcelona, of course, Johan Cruyff is also a reference for all the people who comes from the Barcelona academies because he was a learning for us about how to develop talent, but how to get results. And again, sometimes he was not getting results. His first season, he was not getting results. His last season, he was not getting results. So, okay, you have to try to be consistent in that. But again, it's a football game. The other teams also have their strength, their talent, and you are not going to reach the results 100% because it's football. Everybody wants to win.
So, do you have any words for any upcoming football players or maybe managers who are just starting out?
Yeah, of course. First thing is to love the game. You have that passion, for sure you are going to improve. You are going to read, you are going to see videos, you are going to get involved in the game. And then once you know about the game, then you have to start if you want to be professional in that, you have to start, but normally you start with the young players and then you are growing up in the profession.
Okay, like I just could not stop myself from asking this question, okay? So it's like, do you have any young player coming through the ranks who's exceptionally good and according to you, has a bright future from Bengaluru?
Uh, yeah, it's a difficult question because talent is there, but you never know how the player is going to react after the exposure, after the press. That means to play in a big club like Bengaluru. For me, one of the guys that are getting successful in that is Suresh. Suresh have been starting, slowly, step by step, and once he has been part of the lineup, he has been keeping consistent in his performance. But you have to manage different kind of situations. And for example, in the semi-final, he was really unfortunate making that penalty to Williams because we were knowing that. We were showing videos to the players about be careful because these veteran players like to go down in the box, so be careful. And now he has to have a learning from that. He has to be understanding that the top competitions demand you all the time good decisions. And it has been the same also for Ashik and the penalty that he got in Goa. So they are critical moments that give you bad results. You are losing points, you are losing the opportunity to win a final. And it's something that you cannot let yourself to do one time, two times, three times, because otherwise you are really, really doing bad things for the team. So it's what I mean. We have talent, and that talent have to be playing in the top level and not making mistakes. Once they can do that, they can become, a player consistent in the lineup, and they can go to the national team. But it means about to take 99% good decisions during a football game. Otherwise, you cannot be in the competition.
Okay, I'll ask you. We have two more questions. The first one is, you have been there for so long. You have played in the I League and the ISL. What do you think is the difference between them? Like, which one do you prefer?
Yeah, it's very clear the rhythm of competition. It's higher in Super League. There is no question about that. Then also the quality of the foreigners. I honestly think that they are better in the Super League, and of course Indian players. If you see the national team, all the players in the national team come from the Indian Super League. I think that after the time that I have been here in India, I really can see when I see a football game that the level is better in Indian Super League. Another thing is when you play one against each other. When you play one against each other, it's football, and maybe the other teams give an extra, and in the Super Leagues teams get a little bit down in his mental achievement to the game or that kind of things, and any result can happen. But if you talk about the full league, I really can see that Indian Super League is developing more the talent.
Okay, I had a lot of questions, but I think we have time constraint. Okay, so I will ask you only one question. So none of the question or interview is complete without asking whom do you prefer, Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yeah, well, I have no question about that. For me, Lionel Messi is the best player that I have been.
So, but are you being biased because of your Barcelona connections?
No, I think that he is doing for the game a lot of more things that Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is an excellent player, of course, a top scorer. He can get a lot of different goals, but the way to play the game, I think that Leo Messi has a better vision of the game, has a better interaction with the players. He also has better numbers about assistance, about goals, about anything. So I have no question about that. Respect for CR7, Cristiano Ronaldo, but for me it's clear.
Okay, I'll just ask you one question. I'm so sorry I'm asking you so many questions, but do you think like ISL has to be made longer? Maybe you have a 8 or 9 month long season, or maybe like how you have in Europe, do you
Yeah.
think that will improve the football of India, or is the
Of course, it has to be. It has to be because as many games the players can play in a competition, the better they are going to improve. There is no question about that. And for India, it's important that if European national team players play 60 games per season, they have an advantage because in Indian international players, maybe they play 30 games, so you have to change that. But for me, the best way to change that is increasing the number of teams in Indian Super League. I really have my questions about to make a 3 rounds competition, because after that, always you are going to have different number of games at home or away, it makes things a little bit strange, So for me, the best solution is to have a league of 16 or 18 teams that can be in the Super League and that we can play 2 rounds. So it means at least a decent number of games.
So on that note, so that was Bengaluru FC coach Mr. Carl Cuadrat. Thank you so much for talking to us, and we wish you all the best for your future campaign, and wish you win all the possible trophies, maybe AFC Cup, everything, and hope we can talk again soon, maybe after you are champions again. So thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much, and greetings from for everybody in Nepal. All the best.
Thank you so much.